Welcome to the first official instant analysis post-game of the 2025 season. USC defeats Missouri State 73-13. 7-3. 60-point game. I'm Riley Sager alongside Connor Morrissette. We got to break this down.
I hope if you bet on it that you bet on USC. We did our spread picks, and Riley and I thankfully both picked USC, so we start the year 1-0. So much to get to, Riley. Just a dominant win for USC. Jaden Mayava, the starting quarterback, he leads 5 drives in the first half. They all go for touchdowns. That was really impressive. In the second half, we saw Hassan Longstreet, the backup. He looked really good outside of one mistake. He had a couple rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown. Really good to get him some reps. But just in terms of the guys who we heard so much about from fall camp, so Wayman Jordan, when he finally got a handoff on that first drive, takes it 26 yards, and then the next play starts the game with a 5-yard touchdown. Brian Jackson had a short yardage touchdown at 3 yards. He was untouched. It looks like he'll be that short yardage guy. How about Eli Sanders on that swing pass, taking it 73 yards to the house? He looked like an Olympic sprinter on that play. Mekhi Lemon, 8 targets, 7 catches for 90 yards. He picked up right from where he left off. Lake McCree, 64-yard touchdown. Getting into some defensive stuff, Cameron Fountain had a sack and a tackle for loss. I asked him after, could he have made that tackle for loss when he went around the tackle and dropped the running back for a loss last year, and he said, I think so, but I'm way more confident this year, and I'm making more plays this year. So we heard great things about him in camp. That came through. Bishop Fitzgerald, a guy I've been really high on, pick 6, pass breakup. It's just a laundry list of good things for USC. We can get into the one big mistake on defense that they made, but I mean, when you're winning by 60 points, there's not really a whole lot to nitpick. USC, the whole point of this game, what we wanted to take away was, can USC steamroll this former FCS team? And that's exactly what happened, so mission accomplished.
Like you said, Missouri State's first FBS game.
Yep.
A little bit of a brutal ending for them, but like you said, laundry list of playmakers, 8 different scorers for USC, and not Mekhi Lemon and not Jacoby Lane. Obviously, Lemon had a great game, like you mentioned, with his stats, but we didn't see them in the end zone.
Spreading the wealth, we saw walk-on King Miller shot out of a cannon for a 75-yard touchdown. That was a guy who Riley highlighted as well. He said that's someone who leads the team in yards per carry during practice, and he backed that up tonight. Very impressive run from him. Carson Tabarachi caught the 9-yard touchdown. So, yeah, it was playmakers from all over the roster, and Lincoln Riley said that's what's so important about this game. Obviously, you want the ones to look like the ones, and that happened, but Hassan Longstreet, 9 for 9, the 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown. Matai Tagoai, the linebacker, forces a fumble. Tonight we saw Christian Pierce get a start at safety, his first career start. Looks like he won that third safety battle, but he tonight looked really good to me, and someone who they'll rely on a lot, which is important. And Marcellus Williams gets in there with the top group. Braylon Conley as well, Floyd Boucard, and then lower guys of the roster, Garrett Pomerantz with an interception in his first ever defensive action. So just a lot to like. But you're absolutely right, Riley, to highlight all the different impact players, because, yes, the top of the roster did a lot, but so did the middle of the roster, and then so did the bottom of the roster. Walk-ons were in up and down this roster tonight, and when you win by 60 points, that's what you get. So the team is happy. They're in a good place. They know that there's a lot more work to be done, but I keep going back to mission accomplished. What we wanted to see tonight is what we got.
And obviously the top of the roster, they've proven themselves before. We know what they're capable of, so it was really nice to see either the younger guys or those with less experience kind of show that they're capable of making plays.
Absolutely, and when you say that, I'll just immediately go to Hassan Longstreet, who made a lot of plays with his legs. Mm-hmm. He led a touchdown drive coming out of the halftime because he got the start in the second half, and yeah, rushed for, I think, a 8-yard gain, a 12-yard gain, and then he had the rushing touchdown. So he's fleet on his feet, which we saw, and he had some nice passes as well. Of course, when you're in your first ever college action, it's not going to be perfect. He did have the strip sack. Mm-hmm. The blocking wasn't great on that. He probably should have thrown it away, so he'll learn from that. Lincoln Riley in the press conference mentioned that that's something that they'll look at him to improve on, of course, but like the guy played for the first time in his first ever game, so the fact that he didn't throw an incompletion, that's really a good sign to me. So as the year goes on, if USC can win some more of these games by bigger margins, especially at the start, and we'll see more of Longstreet, that's good. But I asked Riley why did he go with Longstreet to start the second half, and he said, this is a guy who's our backup quarterback. We needed to give him as many reps as we possibly could. So, that's someone who, when you talk about the younger players, that stands out. I mentioned Tagowai earlier with the forced fumble. Pomerantz had the interception. He made a joke about how he had one man to beat, and he ran right into him. All the teammates, of course, were kind of giving him a lot of crap. But Isaiah Rubin recovered the Tagowai fumble. He hadn't played a lot. Marquise Gallegos tonight, a younger safety, made a couple of nice plays. So, up and down the roster, this team looked ready to go.
Yeah, and as for Longstreet, we can see him in practice as much as we want. We can think, okay, he's ready, he's confident. But you're not going to know until he's out on that field. And like you said, his first college football game, going out there, no turnovers or no interceptions, so that's great for him. No interceptions. And I think, like you said, he was mobile. He did rush a bit. He got out. He wasn't always hesitating. And I think that could be a common thing for a new quarterback going in, and it's intimidating, I'm sure. So for him just to feel comfortable moving around, I thought that was great. Absolutely.
And when we did watch in practice, he did take off a lot, and that's what a lot of young quarterbacks who run do. Mm-hmm. Their first option is just run. And sometimes there's better options out there. But tonight, you're playing Missouri State. Clearly, him running was good. I think there was one time, though, he ran over the middle, got popped. I saw on the Jumbotron that his mouth guard fell out. So he's just going to learn so much from this. Mm-hmm. So that was something that was really impressive. As we said earlier, there was the strip sack with him. And then the one big mistake by the first-team defense in this game was that fourth down blitz, which Missouri State, to their credit, picked up really well. But then USC had a coverage bust in the back end where it looked like there was a miscommunication between DJ Harvey, Kennedy Urlacher. Pierce was a little bit late getting over, but I don't think that was on him at all. I think DJ Harvey covered the wrong guy. And so when you play Missouri State, like LSU, they might make you pay, but Missouri State, you can afford to make those mistakes. And DJ Harvey earned the starting job, so take nothing away from him. He's a newer guy, like I said. That was really the one mistake, but it's the first game of the season. We all remember a couple years ago, San Jose State, when USC won in a dominating fashion in that game. But there was a lot of mistakes in that game, and tonight, really only two that come to mind. A few small things here and there, a kick out of bounds, but two things that it's like, okay, just getting the rust out a little bit. And Longstreet, what rust? He's just started or he's playing for the first time ever. So that was one, his strip sack, and then the coverage bust. But for a first game, really, that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. There was way more good than bad, of course. And I mean, look at the score, 73-13. So the team, like I said, is in a good place. They're happy. They'll go over the film. They'll learn from this. And what's nice is next week they'll play Georgia Southern, a team that I think is in a dogfight right now with Fresno State. It's another team USC should beat, but they're a better opponent than Missouri State. And there's kind of a slow build here where USC, this new offensive line, can continue to get the reps that it needs. Thought they looked pretty good tonight outside of a couple plays early where there were a couple head-scratching things. But after that, they settled down. So just the more reps that a lot of these new guys will get, it's going to be for the better.
Yeah, we did hear about those offensive line shifts past week after DJ Wingfield was not ruled eligible for this season. So all of the starters were recruited by Lincoln Riley and his team. And they were starting tonight. And just what does that say about the program?
Well, they are relying on development, which is good. I liked how when we asked Riley the loss of Wingfield what that means, he said, yes, we're bummed, he's bummed, but it's next man up. And we saw that tonight. It's always good when you don't notice an offensive lineman, and Elijah Page, the best offensive lineman, didn't really notice him in a good way. He was really good tonight. Killian O'Connor, the former walk-on, no low snaps, no fumbles, no bad exchanges. I didn't really notice him in a good way, so that was encouraging. Tobias Raymond, he's a guy who's made a massive jump from last season. We'll see against better opposition, but didn't really notice him tonight. Early in the game, a couple mistakes. One, Alani Noah missed a block, and then I think the first play when Jaden scrambled and completed the pass to Makai Lemon, and at first it was like, oh, is he going to take this big sack? Justin Tauanu got beat on that, but that was really only it. This was an offensive line that they're playing their first game together, and they get a passing grade for me for sure. Anytime you win by this margin, you're going to get a passing grade. So we'll see as the year goes on. That right side of the offensive line, will teams challenge that group because it's Alani Noah and then Justin Tauanu, who isn't as experienced. But overall, I mean, we've talked a lot about the offensive line. I still need to see more against better teams, of course, but they did a nice job tonight.
We've also talked a lot about the running backs. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the spring, that was the position group you were most excited?
Yes, okay. Yes, big time. And they boy, do they back that up tonight. Yeah, so 26, that 26-yard carry for Wayman Jordan when he's making guys miss. He also had that reception where he made a couple guys miss. I can't wait to see him in the Big Ten. He just looks like he belongs, and it's so rare to hear the coaching staff and the players talk up a guy the way they talked up Wayman Jordan. Everyone was so excited about him, and he totally backed that up tonight. And then Eli Sanders, Lincoln Riley said he had maybe the best camp out of anyone on the roster. And what does he do? He takes the swing pass 73 yards for a touchdown. It looked like he might get caught, but the way he just continued to accelerate and got even faster, he almost started to high step a little bit. That's a guy who his highlight plays are going to be really exciting. We saw Brian Jackson with the 3-yard touchdown run. I continue to think they'll use him in some short yardage spots. And he played a little bit later. He's still only a sophomore, so he's a guy who will definitely have a bright future, and he'll project to play a little bit this year. And then how about King Miller, the 75-yard scamper from him? He does not look like a walk-on. So what can help a new-look offensive line is a really talented running back, and it looks like USC has a few.
Yeah, and in press after the game tonight, Jade Mayava said just how much that helps him, knowing that these guys can run the ball, that, it's not just on him to throw a pass or that kind of thing. Like, he trusts them, they trust him. It was great to see him talk about them a bit in the press.
It seems like there's a lot of trust with this team in general, and it's that old off-season cliche, but, this team's really together. We continue to hear that. A big point today was that when they came off the bus, they were all wearing the same outfits, which in the past, Lincoln Riley described it as more of an NFL style where guys would wear whatever they wanted, the nice suits or the fancy designer clothes. But today they all came out in the same USC warm-up gear, and then they did the walk to the locker room, of course, and saw the fans. And it just seems like in that regard that they are a lot more together, they are a lot more bought in, and that's something that I kind of think, yes, it's obviously a good thing, but that's something if they go out and lose a game they're not supposed to, it's okay, well, good thing they're all wearing the same clothes. It's a good thing until, it could be a good thing, but I have a hard time right now saying, that's why they won 73-13. Let's see how it goes, but certainly it's a good sign, and I think that the fact that this team is so tight, Jade Mayava continued to really nod his head when people would allude to just the close-knit group, and Lincoln Riley talked about how they don't let the assistant coaches wear hats and the players don't wear hats in the meetings. So there's a new standard within the program, which is obviously a good thing, and we'll see what the results are from this new standard as the season goes on.
Yeah, a lot of, not necessarily turnover, but new faces, not just coaching staff, but front office, and so I think it's important to get the whole team, the whole program on the same page, and that's just an example of it. It is just an outfit, but it means something more than that. The guys wanted to come out in one cohesive unit, and so I think that's just another example of what this team's trying to accomplish.
Totally. And they do seem more all on the same page, and what's interesting, I was having a conversation before the game, we all remember LSU last year, and we thought, okay, this was the turning of a page. Maybe hiring Tremaine Carroll, Chad Bowden, and wearing all the same outfits and just being more together, maybe that's the turning of the page that we thought that we were getting potentially last year. So let's see how the rest of the season goes. But as I continue to say, I think steps in the right direction tonight for sure.
Yeah, not to go back to the past, but just comparing this win to last year's opener against LSU. Obviously, when you beat a team like LSU, it can be easy to get, the energy up, and then that might stick around. You might be stuck on that win, but you have a game the next week. Versus this one, they were expected to win, so is it kind of just brush it under the rug now? Do you think it's better this way?
I'm not really sure. I think a win is a win, and if they beat LSU tonight, that would obviously be better, but we saw what happened the rest of the season. To me, how the schedule sets up this year is unquestionably better than last year, where last season it was LSU, and then I think was it Utah State, and then Michigan. That was really hard. So I like how this year it's a slower build, and that certainly lends itself to USC having more success, which is a good thing. But they were in that Michigan game, so it's hard to say them playing LSU the first week was this big negative when they got a win. I do think it's good for the program, as Lincoln Riley talked about, being able to play the whole roster. That's helpful, but if they had a ranked team here and they won, that would be really good too. So the way the schedule sets up is definitely better than last year, and let's see how the rest of the year plays out after that. If they go on a run and we look back at the beginning of the schedule, it allowed them to figure some things out, then certainly this was the better way to go.
Lincoln Riley also said, yes, they're going to enjoy the win, they're going to spend time with their family tonight, but they're back at it tomorrow night. They're running and lifting, so they don't have too much time to think about it.
Yeah, Georgia Southern's coming in here in a week, so I think the game is the same time, 4:30. So we're here. No Labor Day weekend in college football. These guys are right back to work, and Lincoln Riley knows that. He was asked, how are you going to motivate these guys after a big win? And he just kind of smiled and said, we have our ways. So the guys will be ready next week against Georgia Southern. And Clay Helton coming back to the Coliseum. I know a lot of fans will be motivated. Not a big game on paper, but a big game for other reasons, of course, with just a lot of storylines. And they are better than Missouri State, so USC will be tested a little bit more, and that'll lead us to have more takeaways about the team, so I can't wait for it too.
Yep, and last home game before they hit the road for the first time this season, so we'll see how that plays out. It is late. It's getting dark. People are wrapping up. Any other final thoughts?
Mission accomplished, as I said. I think the team showed what I wanted to see from them, and I am excited to see what the future holds, because it's pretty clear that USC's taken some steps in the right direction in the offseason, and today was the baby step of this 2025 season. Let's see what the rest of the year looks like.
Well, USC is 1-0, but so are we.
Yes.
Because of the spread. So we'll update you with that. Hopefully we can continue our winning streak.
Yes, I won 2 years ago and did awful last year, so I'm due for a bounce back.
Bounce back. All right, well, this was Instant Analysis. USC 73, Missouri State 13. I'm Riley Sager. He's Connor Morrissette. Good night.